So that was about the basic understanding of the exam pattern, subject, all the topics, the marking system, and how to score in the exam. Now one important concept that we are going to understand, and that is this value addition taxation concept. Now this value addition taxation concept is a base for every indirect tax which is there in the world. Okay, so how this model works in the real life example that we are going to see. So let's take a very simple example to digest the concept of value addition taxation first. Okay, so Mr. A is selling goods to Mr. B. Sell is a very basic level transaction, so it is easy to understand. So the price of this goods is rupees 100, and I am assuming the tax rate is 18%. So A charges rupees 18 as GST on this value of the goods and recovers rupees 118 from B. Right? So A keeps the 100 rupees for his goods with him and remits the 18 rupees to the government. Right? This is a simple transaction how we need to operate in any practical scenario. Right? So in case of sale of goods, I am just repeating the example. A sells goods to B worth rupees 100. I am assuming that the rate is 18%. So 18 rupees GST is recovered. It is called as forward charge. A is charging that, recovering it from his customer and remitting it to the government. So A is retaining 100 rupees and remitting rupees 18 to the government. So this is level 1. When we go to the next level, B is a trader. So B sells these goods to Mr. C. Now the basic price is 150. So 50 is margin, right? 50% on cost is retaining as a profit, right? Because whether he will sell at exact rupees 100 on which whatever he has got, no, because he has his own expenditure, he needs to earn something out of it, he needs to make some profit out of his business. So he charges 50% as a margin. I have considered 50% just for the sake of easiness and understanding. It may vary from business to business, but he charges 150 rupees to Mr. C, and on that the rate is same 18%. I am assuming this rate here. So on 150, 18% comes to 27. So how much money B will get from C? The answer is 177, out of which B will keep rupees 150 for his goods value and has to remit rupees 27 to the government. Ideally he should remit 27 to the government, but here is a catch. He has already remitted rupees 18 to the government. How? Through Mr. A. Right? So what he will do is he will reduce that 18 from the 27 rupees and only remit 9 rupees to the government. This is very, very important point. Have you understood? So here again I am just repeating just to have a link to the next example. 18 rupees B has already given to A and A has given it to the government. So B will say that whatever I have recovered from C, that is 27, I will not give it directly to the government. I will just deduct the 18 rupees which are paid by me earlier to Mr. A and through A to the government from that 27, and only I will pay balance rupees 9. So this 18 which he has availed benefit of is called as input tax credit in GST language. Okay. This concept we are going to understand in a detailed manner later on when the input tax credit topic comes. But here, to understand the value addition taxation chain or model, we should know what is ITC, and hence I am explaining that this is called as ITC in GST. Right? Then if this follows from point A to B to C to D. Okay. So let's see this example in totality. Manufacturer to distributor 100 rupees. 18 rupees GST gone to government, rupees 18, because A is going to give it to the government. At B level, 150 is the selling price, 27 is recovered, but GST credit is available 18, so 27 minus 18, 9 is going to the government. Then wholesaler to retailer, again 50 rupees is charged as a margin. So 200 rupees is the price on which 18% 36 is GST which is collected from retailer, but he has already remitted 27 to the earlier chain. He will deduct this 27 and he will pay rupees 9 to the government and retailer to the final consumer. Here the chain is going to end finally because consumer will consume the goods and what or services as the case may be. So here retailer is charging rupees 250 by charging rupees 50 as margin, and on that 18% 45 rupees he is recovering from consumer, but retailer, how much he will pay to the government? By reducing this 36, he will pay only 9 rupees to the government. So every person in this value addition chain is taking benefit of earlier paid taxes and remitting the balance to the government. So what is government is going to get at the end? 18 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9, total 45. Clear? So government is getting 45, and how much is the tax which is going from the pocket of the consumer ultimately? The answer is 45. Is it magic that it is matching? It is simple mathematics, because this burden is being passed on to the next level, okay, and at the same time the benefit of earlier paid taxes is taken at every next level. The balance which is paid to the government will exactly match with the balance which is going from the consumer's pocket. And this is the important concept of GST or any value addition tax that we need to understand. And if we understand this, the GST understanding or understanding of the entire subject matter will be easier. Now, two questions might come. Question number 1, is there multiplication of taxes? Because manufacturer is also charging 18%, distributor, wholesaler, retailer, everybody is charging 18%. So is there a multiplication or duplication of tax? The answer is no, because when the next person is charging, the earlier paid taxes are reduced and only balance is paid to the government. So through this chain, it is ensured that only tax is charged on the value addition. So here 50 rupees value addition, next 50 rupees value addition, next 50 rupees value addition, and on that only the tax is charged. That is ensured. Question number 2. If it is a tax to be borne by the ultimate consumer, because it is a goods and services tax, why doesn't government directly collect it from the consumer? Why there is a need to have this chain in place? Isn't it a valid question? The answer to this question is that whether it is practically possible for government to go to every person and check what they have consumed, कितना टूथब्रश लिया है, कितना टूथपेस्ट लिया है, कितना ग्रोसरी लिया है, कितने शूज, कितने क्लोथ्स, कितना कुछ किसने कार लिया है, and then to tax them individually and collect the taxes? The answer is no. So this is a practical solution to the problem of collection of taxes, and hence there is a chain in place. So this chain ensures that none of the consumed items go untaxed. Understood? So why there is a need of this value addition taxation system is simply because the tax should flow in a professional manner, and that responsibility is reposed on 1, 2, 3, 4 as the case may be. There may be multiple chains depending upon the type of the commodity. So this model is clear now. Value addition taxation model is very, very important to understand, because whatever we are going to learn, okay, may it be levy, may it be exemptions, may it be input tax credit, all are going to get associated with this example only. So we'll be taking this example multiple times. There is no loss or double taxation as far as this consumer is concerned. Exactly 45 rupees is the charge which is charged to the consumer, and exactly 45 is the revenue which is going to the government treasury. So it will always match.